I'm Tom Paton, and you're listening to Chris Gordon on Ramblings of a Hellblazer.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, listeners, wherever you may be. This is Chris Gordon. Once again, you are tuned in to Ramblings of a Hellblazer. Thank you all very much for tuning in and for listening. Your support is, as always, fully appreciated. Thank you. So today I bring to you the third instalment from the Pandorica movie. And this is Tom Paton, who is the director of the movie. He actually wrote it and produced it and directed it as well. So, without further ado, I shall stop my talking and bring on the one and the only director, Tom Paton. Good evening, everyone. I'm delighted this evening to have Tom Paton, who is director of Pandorica movie, which is due out later this year. Well, not too long from now. You've already heard Marc, Zammit and Luke De Silva on the podcast already, so Tom is the director. So good evening, Tom. How are you?
Hey, Chris. Thanks for having me on, man. Really appreciate it.
No, I appreciate you actually taking the time out to chat to me. Fantastic.
My pleasure, man.
Cool. So as you know, I've got a few questions here. You've not seen them. There's not.
No. Always worrying, right? It's like being on a job interview.
Yeah. So I thought I'd keep these on secret. No, there's nothing in it. So yeah, obviously just to go through and just find out a bit about yourself and a bit about the film.
Yeah, please do.
So okay. So what or who inspired you to become a director and make films?
Whoa, that is a can of worms, isn't it? Right. Do you know what? Honestly, I think for me, I've always been creative. I've always known that I was going to do something in the arts as a career. I suppose even when I was younger, I used to think I was going to be a comic book artist. Right. I'm just not good enough. And then I started to think, you know what? Hey, I could write comic books. And then around about 15, I really got into film in a big way and started to realise that actually this is a good way to tell stories, and it lined up with myself from a visual perspective and how I saw things. So and then I really got into films. Sort of like I was a real hound for like 80s horror movies from about the age of 15. I really got into things like Evil Dead 2 and Return of the Living Dead and films like that. And I kind of, from the very beginning, was really into the sort of lower budget 80s stuff, and I suppose that's what really inspired me to start exploring film. I'm a massive John Carpenter and Sam Raimi fan, so I guess props to those two really for my inspiration.
Fantastic. You couldn't get a better inspiration either, to be honest.
Yeah,
Carpenter's he's awesome.
Yeah, I think the thing with those guys, they sort of make it look effortless. Especially in those early films, they didn't have any money, and it didn't stop them, and the films that they made still stand up today. There are very expensive films out there that just don't stand the test of time, and I think really that comes down to the fact that they're just both true artists, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, some of this, you see some of the horrors coming out nowadays, and they haven't got a patch on some of the older stuff.
Well, hopefully mine.
Hopefully yours will do. It does. I mean, looking from the trailer, it's already got the suspenseful in your trailer, anyway, for Pandorica. So
thanks, man. I think, do you know what, with Pandorica, realistic. I mean, because look, I've made no secret about it. As a film in terms of budget, we had the same amount of money as Tom Cruise's catering budget on Edge of Tomorrow, which actually we got Bentley Kalu in this film, who was in that film too. So
all right, cool.
So it's kind of. For me, I made a film that I really wanted to see, and there's a lot of that influence, particularly John Carpenter in the movie. But I tried to not make a film that was a rip-off. I tried to make something that was, it had that nostalgic element to it, but it still felt contemporary and fresh. Like it's basically, I explained it like this to someone the other day. I tried to make a film, like when you've got a jumper and it's like your favourite jumper ever, and then it's and then you go out and you buy a new version and it's a slightly different colour, but it's just as comfortable. Like that's what I was aiming for with Pandorica, like a comfortable original piece.
All right, cool.
Yeah, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, no. That'd be cool. Can't wait. So cool. How long have you actually been involved in the business?
I'm 30 now. I look about 12, but I am actually 30. And I started my own production company with my now wife, Ashley, when we were 20, so 10 years. Yeah, and I'm completely self-taught. I didn't go to university. I don't have a degree. I come from a relatively small town just outside of Birmingham called Walsall, and media and making films wasn't really high on everyone's agenda at the school I was at. Yeah. So, I just knew what I wanted to do, and I just went and taught myself really. And I think the internet's an incredible tool for that. You can learn anything you want to learn, and Yeah, I think that was it. It was just dedicated, really, and just stuck at it for the past 10 years.
Oh no, full credit to you then. Self-taught. That's a pretty impressive.
Well, I think it's the way. Do you know? Like, genuinely, I think that a lot of filmmakers. I think the next generation of big filmmakers really, they all come from that sort of background. To be honest, because when you're self-taught like me, when I was 20 years old, I'm thinking, I need to make money from this film thing before my mum and dad tell me to go and get a real job. I better prove I can do it. So you start to teach yourself every aspect. First of all, I learned how to operate the camera, and then I learned how to edit. Yeah. And then and then you start to explore those things. And now I'm a very competent visual effects guy, and I pride myself on my editing ability. The trailer that you guys have seen already for Pandorica, I edited that myself.
All right, cool.
Yeah, so I think when you are self-taught, you end up becoming a bit of a sponge and trying to take on as much information about film as you can. And I think that really puts you in a good place when you actually come to do a feature film like this, because every aspect of the filming, I knew what that did, or why that was happening, or why that was going on. And I think in a weird way, being a director is like you are a conductor. You're trying to get this whole orchestra moving together, and if you don't know what some of the instruments sound like, you're not going to be able to get the right tune out of them, so to speak. So I think directing a movie is very similar to that. And if you know all those elements, you know all those aspects, then you can really get a finely tuned piece out of people. But I find that it's always self-taught people that seem to be the most clued up on all those areas, really.
All right, yeah, awesome. No, it does sound great. I think you're right with next generation as well, with all technology that we've got. Online and all these, all the editing and stuff like that. There's some cracking fan-made videos coming out as well, and you can see that's where people, these made like teenagers. I'm 40. Yeah, so I think the next, the next Tarantinos and Robert Rodriguez and Kevin Smith, they're coming out the YouTube generation, and half of them have just learned how to make films on their iPhone, and those will be the next storytellers that I think we're all going gaga for over the next 20 years. Oh yeah, definitely. It seems to be a huge thing taking off. I mean, I'm only delving into podcasting here with interview. It's self-teaching myself as well. But
I love podcasting. I think it's given a voice to people like yourself. It's allowed people that are genuinely passionate about film and TV and all sorts of different things to find a voice for themselves. I think fair play.
Cool, yeah, no, it's great. Well, it's a good job, really, since I've got a face for radio,
Haven't we all?
Cool. So have you actually done any theatre work, directing theatre or anything like that? Or is it just all
I haven't. My background, I basically, when TPAC Productions, which is my production company that I run, when that started, we were doing live events.
All right, cool.
So it was like filming nightclubs and filming festivals. And then eventually that led to meeting the artists, and I got in there really early on when YouTube was just starting to sort of kick off, and musicians were starting to realise, oh hey, we should put videos out there, and so I started doing music videos, and one of my first big hits was Flick's Pavilion Bass Cannon, which is like a really low budget music video, but the song was a massive hit all over the world, and it got millions and millions of views, and I sort of got like quite a nice little music video career off the back of that. That became TV commercials, and then I sort of I met this company, Mirror Productions, who signed me up for a different film that I'd written actually, and it kind of all went from there. Really, I started to learn about the film industry and decided that this is where I wanted to go, and that actually I started to realise you just kind of have to kick the doors off yourself if they're going to let you in, and that's how Pandorica happened. Which really, that's my last 10 years in a summary. All I've done is film and edit. So,
awesome. No, that sounds pretty cool. Say within 10 years to come out, and you've got the film that you've written yourself, you've produced yourself, you've directed as well. Within 10 years from starting out, it's just that's got to be pretty impressive.
Do you know what? I think to be honest with you, that time gap will get shorter and shorter. I think bizarrely, I think the film industry's got this idea that if you're under the age of 30, that you're not capable of handling a feature film. I don't think that's true. I think talent is talent. I think if you are an artist and you know how to tell a story, that age isn't really going to have much relevance on that, truthfully. The only thing age can give you is experience in handling people, and trust me, that is the hardest part about making a movie.
Well, I've spoken to two of your leading actors. I can imagine how hard it was with
so
them. Joking.
Because of the budget and because of the fact that I'd written it and I was directed it, and it's been sold and distributed through a company I've set up with Nick Sadler and George Burt called The Film Label,
right.
And so it gave me quite a lot of control over who the crew was going to be and who they weren't going to be, and don't get me wrong, we went through a few people that came on board and then they had to go. Just stuff, I suppose, is always the way. But the core crew that we ended up at the end were just the best group of people. Honestly, it was like when you're in that kind of environment, it was like 11 or 12 days or whatever it was. Yeah. It's like being locked in the Big Brother house with a group of people, and you invariably get on each other's nerves at points, and then you make up 10 seconds later, and then you're laughing, and then you're crying, and the whole thing was just this really bizarre experience. But yeah, fortunately, I don't think we had any bad eggs. We just had a group of really great people that were really dedicated to the project, so I got lucky.
Cool, awesome. I mean, that's one of my questions later on, which we'll expand a bit now. From speaking to Marc and Luke as well, I guess there was a real sense of closeness with cast and crew. Obviously, the weather conditions, obviously filming, very tight. I mean, I actually ended up with images of Without a Paddle, if you've ever seen that.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, when they're lying down, huddled up under that rock and that music.
There were moments like that for sure, definitely.
I was just picturing that in my head and I was chuckling to myself.
Yeah, that is probably a good way to describe some of the days we had.
Okay, is there any other things that you can describe that sort of, from that sort of filming, that bond that were like might have?
Do you know what? Honestly, it's bizarre because I've become really close friends with most of the people that we work with, and some of them I knew really well before we got going, which is why we were there, and and some of them I'd never met before, but they're now classed as really good friends. I've got so much time for the main cast, Marc and Jade and Luke and Adam and Bentley, Ahmed. They were just a great group of people. And, it's weird. I think when you go through something like this, especially as the writer-director, all these people are trusting me to not be wasting their time. Yeah. So, I suppose in that respect, I'm asking a lot more of them than they are of me. So you kind of end up forming a bond, and I'd love to work with some of these people again. I really would. We had some hilarious things go on. When you're filming outdoors, and then we were literally outdoors for 11 days. I mean, I don't know what I was thinking. Hey, I'll make a film all outdoors, all set at night. But we had everything from thunderstorms to insects crawling over the actors' heads mid-take, and it was just. But ultimately, it was just a really good time. I think I hear a lot of first-time directors or second-time directors talk about how nightmarish making a film is. Being on a film set, like being at war and being in the trenches. I think that's bullshit. I had the best time. And I think when you're as passionate about film as I think myself and a lot of the crew were, you don't want to be doing anything different. Me, I'm just jonesing to get back into production on something really.
No, that sounds really awesome. I think you're right. I think that if you've got the passion, you can sort of follow that passion and flow it through and have that sort of closeness.
I think where people fall down is where they don't have the vision, especially as a director. You have to know what that end film is going to look like. And I think being an editor, whenever I direct anything, I sort of approach it from a perspective that I know what the end product is going to look like. So it kind of helps to keep things on track and keep the wheels moving. And, sometimes... I'll be like, we've done 2 takes. I know I've got the shot. That's all I need for that edit. We can move on. Whereas I've seen some directors, they're like, no, we're going to do 50 takes. And then they check their watch and they're out of money and they're out of time and it's game over. So, and I think that's where a lot of the stress on set comes, is just knowing what you want to make and knowing what it looks like and then, knowing when to move on to the next thing, really.
Yeah, definitely. And sort of motivation as well. I've got to say, it sounds very much... I'm not name-dropping, but... when I spoke to J.D. Evermore and Chris Berry, they've both worked on Django Unchained.
Yeah.
With Quentin, with Tarantino.
Yeah.
And what you're saying there rings very true in the same sort of style that Tarantino brought. So I'm comparing you now to Tarantino in a good way.
That is a big deal, right?
Because, they were talking about how he would... he was really intimate and really involved with every single person in his cast as well. He wanted to make sure, and obviously the motivation as well. He'd come into the room and it would be just like, he would see everyone here first thing in the morning. He goes, "Why are we here, everyone?" And everyone would just like, "Because we love movies," That's
it, right? That is the attitude. For me, I tried to. I tried to really spend time with every single person. You know, we weren't a big cast. There was only 8 cast members, and you know, 2 of them have no dialogue whatsoever. Right. You know, but we were a fairly sizable crew for the budget. You know, we had a lot of people willing to give their time for not a lot of money, or totally free in some cases. And you know, I really tried to treat everybody with the respect I think they deserve. You know, if someone's there to make your vision happen, then the least you can do is be polite and speak to them. And don't get me wrong, I mean, I'm a piss taker by nature. You know, I can't help myself. You know, and I'm terrible with people's names as well. But so, you know, a lot of the time, there's members of the crew. I'm like, I can't remember that person's name. I'll give them a nickname, and you know. So I think there's some nicknames that stuck from Pandorica with some people. So if they're listening, I'm really sorry. You know, I think that's it. You know, you need to know who you're working with, and they need to trust you, and you need to trust them. And yeah, I just don't get these directors that go and sit in behind their monitor in Media Village and like, leave me alone, I'm in my art space. I think that's not me at all. And you know, I'm in this because, like you said, I love making movies, and that's it really. Yeah,
no, that sounds brilliant. It really does. It translates as well into the film or the TV show, whatever you're watching as well. If you've got that passion throughout the whole, you know, well, I really hope all the way down. So that's hopefully we'll find out in March.
I'm very proud of the film, to be honest with you. I think, you know, I look at every frame, and you know, it's like not every frame is exactly as I envisioned it would be, because that's just not the reality of filmmaking. You know, filmmaking is, you know, it's fast paced, it's breakneck, and you know, the vision that you had in your head isn't always what you get.
Yeah.
But you know, the one thing I can say, hand on my heart, is that every frame is full of passion and love in this film, and you know, so for that reason, I'm proud, and I hope it rings true to the audience when they watch it.
Cool. Bit of a crawl. Is there anything you would have done different looking back on it as you edited?
Yeah, of course, man. Listen, I think anybody that says, "Oh, yeah, no, I smashed it," I'm immediately wary of that person. Because, you know, I think ultimately the goal for anybody in the arts industry, it doesn't matter what your art is to self-improve. You know, and I learned some valuable lessons on Pandorica. You know, and some of them I don't think will be noticeable to the people watching the audience, but there's little things for me where there's a degree of experimentation in this film, and I never really want that to stop. You know, I'd like the next film to still be experimenting. I'd like to be experimenting when I'm 70, to be quite honest with you, and trying new things with the camera and the framing and the editing. And so, yeah, do you know what? I think I'll probably look back on this movie in 10 years. I think it was great for what it was, but I've progressed so much as an artist. But for where I am right now, I'm super proud, really. So.
Oh no, so you should be. It's a hell of an achievement. But you're right. I think the day we stop learning is the day we die. So I'm on for that. It's like, you know, you're always got to self-improve.
Like I said, I mean, I'm self-taught, so I think a lot of that, you know, the ability to teach yourself something is a desire to know more, truthfully. And for me, you know, I'm always studying other directors' work. I'm always learning. Like, I'm constantly, you know, literally before I got on the Skype with you, I was watching a tutorial on No Film School. So I'm always trying to get better. You know, I'm always trying to improve. Yeah. And you know, I think that is the way it should be. That should reflect in your work. Your body of work should continually be better as you get older, I think.
Oh yeah, definitely. It'll be good for you, say, when, you know, in 10, 20 years and stuff, when you can look back and you can see your progress and see how that's actually.
Yeah, when I've finally grown a beard and I've completed my transition to Spielbergness.
And then I'll publish this podcast again. I'll publish the podcast again and say, look, award-winning, you know, global superstar Tom Paton.
Yes, man.
So we're trying to, I mean, speaking to the other guys as well, I mean, you know, the respect that they show, you know, they have for you as well. It was evident throughout both of the guys how much that the actors actually respected you as a director as well, which is great to see. I'm really glad to hear that, because, you know, I mean, it was a tough experience as an actor, because, you know, I didn't want English accents in the film. It was really important to me that the film felt international and it didn't feel confined to the British Isles. You know, I wanted this non-existent accent, you know, and I wrote a language for the film as well, called Verosian, named after the tribe. And, you know, there was like whole parts of the script they were having to learn in a language they'd never heard, and, you know, mix it with an accent that wasn't natural to them, or that they couldn't listen to somebody else and learn it from. So I asked a lot of them, and it's really nice to know that they're happy with what they've done in the movie, because I'm over the moon with it. You know, if I could go back and recast the film, I'd still pick the same people, because they all smashed it. No, that's fantastic. It is great. I mean, you know, I won't tell you what Luke said about you off air, but
No, I've known Luke for, I think, about 10 years. I've known Luke for as long as I've been making films actually.
Right.
We met at a music festival once, and it was love at first sight. But no, he told me that he was into acting, and I just got so much respect for the guy. I wrote this character for him. I just wanted him to have it,
Yeah.
So he's just such a top bloke. I really hope that I hope that this film can show the industry what Luke is made of, because I really think that guy deserves to be a big star, and he's kind of at the right age and everything now for Hollywood to come calling. He'd make an amazing Game of Thrones edition, if you ask me.
Yeah, he's got the look about him, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's great. He's really good.
Yeah.
All the other actors are good too. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. I was saying, I was only joking about Luke. But yeah, Marc, speaking to Marc, so he's such a top guy as well. So I say it looks just like a really sort of good cast. So can't wait to watch this when it does come out. Say very intimate as well. When I think you're right with when you've only got a cast of 8 people, something like that. And,
yeah, total 8. We spend most of the film with 4 characters, and then the other 4 kind of weave themselves in the second half of the film. So bizarrely, like I said, the script, it was kind of reflective of the filming experience itself. It was like being on that film set was like being in Big Brother, and hopefully. Yeah. For an audience watching this, it's like watching post-apocalyptic Big Brother. You're just sort of thrown into this environment that these 4 characters are in, and you have to catch up with them real quick, and you have to like them. I think is really important for me as a writer. It's trying to make characters that you want to spend intimate time with for 40 minutes of a film. So yeah, I think that hopefully that intimacy will come through in the actual finished piece as well. Hopefully it will feel like a film you can revisit and go and hang out with your mates that you made that just happen to be in the movie. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that sounds great. I mean, I think that the intimacy it will show their acting skills as well. 8 people, you've got to carry off an entire feature film.
Yeah, that's difficult.
All these big, you've got all the Hollywood blockbusters now. I mean, Star Wars is as good as it is. Saw that for the 3rd time this weekend.
I've seen it twice. I'm trying to see it a 3rd time. I thought it was a great experience. I'm a big J.J. Abrams fan. I know the guy gets a lot of slack, but from a skill perspective, the guy is talented, and again, you can see he's got vision. So, but I really enjoyed Star Wars.
Oh yeah, but I was talking about that's got a cast of thousands.
Yeah.
I've actually just seen they're recruiting for people to be extras in Star Wars 8. Sorry, I know going away from topic. I've just seen that on Facebook before. I was like, I'm going to go down. I need to get down there.
We'll go together. I think me and you look great in Stormtrooper outfit.
I know. Yeah, I've got a bit of a belly, so I'd have to be the fat rebel.
Yeah, me too, mate. You know what? Everybody, we can be technicians in the background or something.
Yeah. It'll be more like Spaceballs, Yeah, that's all that. But yeah, so obviously the intimacy of the film looks absolutely fantastic.
Look, I mean, it was a big ask on the actors, and especially Jade, who plays Erin, the lead character. Mm-hmm. It's her first. It's not just her first film. This is her first acting gig.
Right.
So it was so much to put on this one girl, and. When we were casting for the movie, as I was writing the script, because I actually wrote the script in like 3 weeks from start to finish. It was like ready to go. Do you know what? In fact, I don't think a lot of people know this right now, but this time last year, Pandorica didn't exist. There was no script. There was never an idea. It wasn't like something that was rattling around in my head for years.
Yeah.
I was fully invested on a different project called Endemic, and I was all about that film. And then when the budget for that didn't come together. I just basically went off and wrote a new script out of frustration in 3 weeks, and this is that film. So, it moved really, really quickly. And, when you're writing, I mean, I'm one of these, I like to put mood boards and stuff together for who the characters are going to be. And a friend of mine who's friends with Jade had posted a picture of her, I think, on Facebook. And so I put her in the mood board, basically. I was like, oh, yeah, she kind of looks like what I imagine Erin will look like.
Yeah.
So then I went off and wrote the script, and she was on the mood board, so we constantly keep referring back to her. And then we began casting. And, we called in, like, so many people for this part, but we didn't call her in. We called everybody for her. And, and they just, none of them felt right to me, because, I think I'd written the character for this girl that I didn't even know, that I'd never met, but visually it was written for her. So we took a punt, and I messaged her on Facebook and was like, hey, you don't act by any chance? And she was like, no, I'm a model, but I'd love to get into acting. So I sent her the script. I thought, what have I got to lose? And she came in, and she was just insanely good. I mean, she had not only obliterated all the other girls that came in before her, but I genuinely think Jade is going to be a star. I mean, she's she's incredible, and I hope the audiences see that and really relate to her, because what she's done is a huge achievement, really.
Oh, that's fantastic. It must be hell of an achievement as well. Just not just your first film, but your first acting gig to come on as well. Get her on the show, come on.
Yeah, no, honestly, I mean, I can't even imagine what it must have been like for her. She's having to learn, whereas all the other actors had experience on film sets before.
Yeah.
From Adam Bond to Marc Zammit that you spoke to, at Luke, Bentley, they're all versed in film language, if you will.
Yeah.
But Jade isn't, and had to learn it all on set. So like day one, we're saying terms for the camera, like camera speed, and she's like, I don't know what that means, So she's having to learn, not only act and stay in character, but learn all the film lingo as well. It's pretty impressive.
That's fair dues to her. That sounds brilliant. I'll keep an eye out for her as well. So.
Yep.
But I say that must take a lot as well. Take a lot of guts and a lot of skill and a lot of.
Look, it's like I said, it's a post-apocalyptic film, so you've kind of got people wearing clothes that aren't natural and makeup that isn't, the norm. I think hopefully I gave her the tools, and I gave all the actors the tools they needed to perform the characters correctly. And from what I'm watching back, and I've literally been working on we're near the finished cut of the movie now. It's so close to nearly ready, and.
Awesome.
I've seen it a few times now. I showed my family over Christmas and stuff, and everybody's just super, super impressed with what we've done and what we've got. So I personally think we've got something quite special here.
No, that's fantastic. I mean, talking to costumes, the picture I'm actually staring at on Skype, it's that big mask thing with the big round mouth, and it's quite intimidating, to be fair.
He's one of the main villains in the film. So without giving away too many spoilers, there's another tribe that comes into the fray later on, and they're named after numbers. So they're called 3, 6, and 9. This guy that you're looking at now is 6. You'll have seen the posters going. Anybody that's been following Pandorica will see the character posters. Yeah. But you've got 3, 6, and 9. 9's their leader. He's played by Bentley Kalu, and they're a real like pleasure to come up with and to write and to design. And with the look, we tried to, because it's post-apocalyptic, I sort of wanted to do this whole idea, like we've got Robin Hood now, and the guy didn't really remain in green tights and stuff. It's almost like that's where his legend came from. So I kind of looked at today's mythology, if you will, like the horror movie masks that we're used to from the slashers of the 80s and the 90s. And I tried to say, okay, what would happen to them, 200-300 years later after that became a story and a myth. And so all the mask designs in the film have kind of got their roots in inspiration from films now, but they also look completely their own thing as well at the same time. So hopefully the horror fans and the sci-fi fans will see the nods and freak out for it. Fingers crossed.
Fantastic. I'm sure they will. I'm just sorry, I've got to mention the picture because it's just sitting here for about 30-40 minutes or so. It's just sitting staring at me. And
that's what I look like, Chris. I look like that.
Self-portrait was the imaged on. So when's the film actually released then?
Okay, so if you're in the UK, you're going to be able to see the film at the beginning of April, and that'll be theatrically and VOD. So just sign up to pandoricamovie.com. We'll get the newsletter out, so we'll let you know the theatres that we're playing at. But anybody will be able to download on VOD, and the links will be all over the place as well for that. But we are actually doing a bit of a tour in March with the movie. We're going to be in Liverpool on the 12th of March. We're going to be at Sci-Fi Weekender, in Wales on the 19th. We're in Birmingham on the 20th. So the film's getting a little bit of a tour, so people are going to be able to see some early screenings of the movie. So hopefully that'll get a bit of the buzz out. And then the rest of the world will be getting the movie this summer. So we're looking at a summer US release and summer Asia release. So again, sign up to the website, keep yourself posted on where you can see the film. But the priority for us, to be honest, is VOD. I'm a massive supporter of digital, and I suppose, earlier you said about Tarantino. I guess in some respects I'm like the anti-Tarantino. I genuinely believe in digital. I believe in digital technology. I believe in it as a platform, and for Pandorica, I feel like it's its natural home. Nothing would make me happier than to see somebody watching it on a bus on their phone. I don't. Yeah. I'm not one of these. It's like, I have to see it on a big screen. It's like, no. I think as long as people are consuming the story and are enjoying it, that's all that counts to me. So VOD, anybody in Britain will be able to access it beginning of April.
Oh no, that sounds brilliant. I'll certainly be purchasing it.
That's what I like to hear.
So yeah, that was Liverpool Comic Con and Birmingham Comic Con, wasn't it?
Yeah, so all of that will get announced as we, over the next few weeks. But just keep, like I said, sign up to the website, keep yourself posted. So all the details will be coming out soon.
No, that sounds fantastic. And I guess any of my listeners who are in the UK listening to you should get themselves along or come to Pwllheli. I was teasing Luke to try and get him to say it. You skirted around it just saying Wales.
I've got no chance.
I mean, I can't say it. I've lived here for 25 years. Everyone calls it Pwllheli.
Welsh accent well, Chris, I've got to say.
Sorry?
You've dodged the Welsh accent, I think, by the sound of it.
I know, I didn't move up till I was 15. I'm originally from Watford, so yeah. So I've kept that one. Yeah, no, so I mean, I'm looking forward to, obviously, you guys are coming up as well to these places. So not only see the preview, we get to meet you guys too.
Yeah, all those screenings in March, cast and crew, panels afterwards, and we'll also be doing a rundown south theatrically once the film comes out in April, and again, there'll be Q&As there, and I hopefully we can create a bit of a social event around this. We've got some great music coming out alongside with the film as well. So there won't just be the movie, there'll be the whole experience of coming, and then some of those artists will be performing as well after the film and stuff. So there's loads of reasons to get in your car and come out and see Pandorica, and all you got to do, sign up to the website, pandoricamovie.com, and we'll get all those details out as soon as they're all locked into place.
Oh, awesome. And I'll do my best to share as well so we can get that out as well.
Appreciate it.
No problems at all. Have you got anything else on the horizon? It's my last real question. Anything else after Pandorica?
So, loads. Loads. I'm just trying to keep myself as busy as possible, really. I mean, Endemic, the film that I was working on prior to this one, I think people have seen this movie and all of a sudden it's like, he's not a first-time feature director anymore. So there's like reignited interest in those other projects. So Endemic was a British movie. It's now an American film. I'm working on the rewrite of the script there, and very, very different kettle of fish to Pandorica. I sort of describe it as Pan's Labyrinth meets Gremlins. It's weird. It's got a strange tone to it, but there's a lot of personal stuff in the movie as well. And I think, hopefully people will see it, and you'll start to see a pattern with me as a director and go, I get what this guy's films are about. And then obviously Pandorica 2, I've started work on that too.
All right, brilliant.
I'll give you an exclusive. Working title is Attack on Pandorica at the moment, so awesome. It's a much bigger movie than this first one, and I'm trying to write it in such a way that for those people that missed the first one, and if you did miss it, shame on you, but if you did, you can still board and you can still fall in love with the character. So it's taking what worked with this one and scaling it up and making it bigger and meaner, I guess. So yeah, that's in the works, and also producing another film called Stairs, which we're actually looking for a writer-director to come on board with at the moment, but that's a horror film with a bit of a J-horror edge, so...
All right, cool.
Yeah, just loads on the go, and I'm always hungry for projects too, I'm directing commercials still, and I'm still running TPAC, which is still looking after lots of corporate clients, so it's a busy year, really.
All right, fantastic. No, that sounds great. It sounds like, it's great that you got busy, and thanks for the exclusive on Pandorica too.
Working title, things may change, but I think, to be honest with you, Pandorica was always designed to be this like one-off film, but then as it started to get into it, and even before production began, and we started to create the world, there's this whole expanded universe has popped up around it, and the concept of the film, lends itself to that. Really, it's the basics of the movie are this tribe called the Varosha. They train their children from the age of 13 up to the age of 21 to become leaders, and then when they're ready, the current leader and a council of elders pick the three main candidates. They take them off to this forest, which is where their people first came from, and then he literally sits there, lights a fire, and they sit and wait to see what comes out of the forest that night, and just watches to see how they deal with it, and he'll choose the current leader from that. But it kind of leads itself. There's all these other trials that would have happened. Nuss, that Luke De Silva plays, had his own trial. What happened there, and who was his leader? He's got a trial, and so on and so forth. And so there's a big expanded universe, and I'm just so immersed in it now. I just want to keep exploring and digging deeper and finding where we can go with it, really.
Oh, no, fantastic. That sounds great. It sounds, definitely sequel material.
Well, let's hope so, eh?
Oh, yeah, definitely. All right, brilliant. Now, that's been fantastic to speak to you, Tom. I really appreciate you taking your time out for that.
My pleasure. So just a quick shout out. Everybody go and check out pandoricamovie.com, and also just some shout outs to the production company that came on board with the movie and gave me the support that I needed. That's Mirror Productions, Evangelo Kousis and Simon Baxter. And a big shout out to Nick Sadler and George Burt, my partners at the film label. So if you're into movie and you're an aspiring director, go and check out thefilmlabel.com, because we want to be there for you guys, really. So, yeah.
Cool.
Cool. There you go.
That's great. All right, our listeners, that has been Tom Paton, director of Pandorica. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Well, thank you very much, Tom. That was brilliant. Can't wait to see Pandorica. Everyone else, get yourself down to www.pandoricamovie.com, sign up to the newsletter, and get the updates for the film. Absolutely brilliant. Thank you very much again. Thank you for listening. As always, this is Chris Gordon, Ramblings of a Hellblazer, signing out. Thank you.